Jumbo, habari gani, everyone. Hello to my Kijiji, my village. I am Shonda Branch, founder, author, cultural creative with Living Kwanzaa, where we know and understand that 7 principles have infinite possibilities. I am working to show families and communities and organizations how to achieve stronger futures by applying the 7 principles of Kwanzaa 365 days a year. So, I want to start this week by acknowledging that this has been a week of fire and ice. It has not been an easy week for many, many people. And I want to begin by acknowledging anyone affected by the fires out in California, anybody affected by the snow and ice here on the East Coast, anyone who has experienced personal tragedies or setbacks. Just know that I am aware and I am holding you, I'm holding your families and your communities in my heart, and we are indeed unified in sending you our love and our light and our well wishes. So let's just take a moment, take a breath. Ashe. So today's video is a quick recap of something that I started this year very, very intentionally. Very often on January 1st, we have our Harambe salute and we put Kwanzaa back in a box with the stuff next to the Christmas tree and the garlands and the wrapping paper, and we don't think about it again until next year. So this year, in order to help us be much more intentional and vigilant about that, I have organized these 7-week sprints. So we are at the conclusion of week 1 of our very first Umoja sprint. This is intentionally designed to be a deep study of Umoja, of unity, to help us build the habit of practicing Kwanzaa literally every single day. So put together a calendar. It's got journal prompts, activities, quotes, all kinds of interesting and fun things to do, either alone or with a group, so that you get your head wrapped around the fact that this is something that you can do every single day. It's something that you can touch on at every single intersection of your life. So I've provided this calendar for you. If you don't already have it, go grab it. It's totally free because I want everyone to have access to this. Go to flow.page/livingkwanzaa and you can jump on the mailing list. You can download it. You can get your calendar absolutely free. Again, I want everybody to have this particular resource. Okay. So in putting this calendar together, let me pull it up so you guys can kind of see a little bit of what I'm talking about. So putting this calendar together was lots and lots of fun. I sat and I pondered about the kinds of questions that come up a lot when I'm teaching about Kwanzaa or leading people through exercises or activities. Some of the things that have popped up in my own journaling over time and as I've gone through, I really pulled some of the things that have been lingering in the back of my mind and I pushed them to the forefront. So this is not something where you have to go in and invent the wheel. I've already put these resources together for you. I've already walked through how you can approach these. All you need is a journal, something to write in. If you are a scribbler who just kind of like doesn't really get into the journal thing, just grab a regular notebook, a composition book, a little spiral bound something that you can keep all of your thoughts pulled together in. If you, however, are like me and you really go in for like a spiral bound scrapbook journal or a sketch pad, something where I can put my stickers and I can use all of the cool pens and the glitter highlighters and the scratch and sniff markers and stuff that I love, right? I went overboard. I've got a whole big thing. I have dedicated time. 7 minutes a day is what I'm suggesting. There are many people who will be able to move through this much quicker than that. There are some activities that might require a little more time than that, but it's all time well spent. I think you will really find that through all of these items, if you sit and spend just a few moments at a time, and even if you miss a moment here and there, going back and recapturing that time at a later date. Take 14 minutes on Saturday morning when you have it, if you haven't gone through. Take a few moments wherever you can find them and really dedicate yourself to the practice of looking at unity and how it touches every aspect of your life and how you can be impactful where it's concerned. So as I said, this is the week 1 recap. I'm so excited. I had so much fun going through the activities. I'm going to give you a closer look at what week 1 actually looked like. So in week 1, we had a Sunday affirmation. And when you are looking at affirmations, what I tend to do is affirmations really inspire even more journaling for me, because when I say these words out loud, there's always something that they trigger. There's something that affirmation is going to call forward in my mind. And I want to keep track of that. So always using that affirmation as a jumping off point for the week, I think is a really strong approach. And if you are one of those people who are like, I could give you 7 minutes on a Sunday. If you don't go any further than the affirmations that I've provided, I feel like you're going to get something anyway, right? So our affirmation last week was about creating spaces where unity can flourish. And what that called forward for me and really forced me to sit down and think about and take it apart was, what does that space actually look like? If I'm in a space where unity flourishes, what does that actually look like? So I thought that maybe that would be a good place for everyone else to step back and focus in and really think about that affirmation. I made it my practice to recite my affirmation at the start of each one of my 7-minute moments, if you will. So every time I took out my Kwanzaa journal this week, I started with my affirmation. I went back to that moment and then I went forward. So that was the practice for me. And I'm curious to know if anybody else used the affirmation at more than just that once on Sunday, if there were other moments that you snuck that in. So let me know in the comments. Just go ahead and pop that in. Tell me how and when and how often you utilize that affirmation. So then we came to Monday, and Monday had a journal prompt. I happily spent more than my 7 minutes on Monday and on Saturday in journaling. Happily. It was really, really time that I found that I needed the quiet time and quiet space, which is ironic because that's kind of where the journal prompt led me to think about how my time individually prepares me to be in unity with others. And so I allowed time and space for those to just be what they were. I didn't worry about my timer. I didn't worry about those kinds of things. And if anything came to me on the other days, I was totally fine with scribbling another note in the margin or dropping another note off to the side. I have sticky notes everywhere. It's just the way my brain works. And so pulling those sticky notes together at the end of the week and really looking at, oh, wow, my brain bounced around a lot, but it all pulled back to this topic, or it all pulled back to this idea. So I really want to encourage everybody to allow yourself the time to journal without the pressure of feeling like it has to be a written assignment that you're like going to turn in for a grade. It doesn't need to be a 7th grade essay or anything. Just get the thoughts out on paper and see where they lead you. I find that journaling is really a good opportunity for me to relax. And I find that for many other people, it's the same. So we went to Tuesday, and Tuesday's activity was a trip, y'all. I really had a good time with Tuesday's activity. I had intended to do this by hand, to pull out my magazines. If you go back to episode 1 of this year's A Modern Kwanzaa Celebration, I was talking with my cousin Devin on that episode about journaling and vision boarding and getting it on paper. And there was a whole joke about actually pulling out my magazines and cutting the pages out and doing an old school collage like we used to back in the day. That did not happen. But what did happen was a really cool digital board that I built. And I wanted to share that with you. So this really cool digital board was put together in Canva. I just played around with the colors, the shapes. I let myself be totally led by the spirit of creativity, right? I went through and I typed all kinds of different prompts in to the elements box to see what kind of pictures I could get, what it would describe as unity. It was really interesting for me to sort of see and understand what the computer thinks unity looks like, especially when you throw Black in there or when you throw African American in there. That's a fun little adventure if anybody wants to spin off into that. So you can see that I pull lots of pictures and videos, not videos, but pictures and images of what unity looks like in different aspects of my life. So when I think of my village or my community, I'm thinking about my friend group. I'm thinking about some of the nonprofit boards that I serve on. I'm thinking about community organizations that I work with. That's how I envision community and unity working in those aspects. Then there is my family. And when I think about unity in my family, I think about multi-generational unity. Sort of within your household is one thing, but when you're really working in unity, I have elderly in-laws, and I have parents, and I have my little sister. I have my cousins who are not near us, but they are all family. We're all related. And thinking about how our lives work and move and interact and how we are interconnected, how we help each other, how we rely on each other, really is important to me. And working in unity with them helps to bring my personal, it helps to bring me a sense of relief when I know that I'm locked in with my family and we're all on the same page and we are there to support each other. Unity with my partner is very, very important. Knowing that he and I are locked in on the same page, that we have the goals for the week, for the month, for the foreseeable future locked in place, and we know how we are going to be approaching some of the issues or challenges that might come up. I like to be locked in with my partner and checking in on a regular basis. And then, of course, unity in the workplace. That Zoom meeting, that Zoom culture has not gone anywhere. There are still lots of virtual meetings that are happening. And my question is, how tightly are we working and efficiently are we working? I have found that those Zoom meetings sometimes are a better idea than everyone sitting in one place at one time, because they allow everybody to be comfortable and relaxed and on chill mode, and they focus in a little bit differently, and they contribute a little bit more because they are working from a space of their own comfort. So thinking about unity in the workplace and what that looks like for you personally or for your organization is critical. I made a little word bubble over here, some words that are synonyms for unity, mean the same or similar things, or some words that unity conjures for me. So those are all over there in a happy little word bubble. The actual definition of unity versus my personal definition, how I think of unity and how I tend to frame it for myself. And then these little pictures over in that bottom right-hand corner, all hands in, working and really enjoying each other. Unity doesn't have to be a thing where you feel like you are giving something up all the time. I find that people sometimes feel like in order to be in unity, I have to compromise, and that means I can't have this or I can't do that or I have to give up the other. I think that knowing and understanding that when we all are flexible, that working in unity is a lot easier. And it's not difficult and it's not drudgery. We can actually have fun. We can actually enjoy everyone when it is time to be in unity that way, right? So that is my little collage, my vision board. I am going to make a template available as a little bonus. I will send that out in the newsletter for next week. So when you become a member of the Living Kwanzaa community, you join the mailing list, you'll be getting all of these little fun freebies and resources, because it doesn't make sense for me to like create all these beautiful things and then keep them for myself. I want everybody to be on board with us, right? So let's go back to our week 1 sprint. That was our activity on Tuesday. The challenge for Wednesday was not one that I typically have any trouble with, because I've been working in this space for quite some time. The number of times that I have typed or recited the the definition for Kwanzaa as given to us by Dr. Malana Karenga, the founder of the holiday, is far too numerous for me to even say. So the challenge was to memorize the actual definition. I already have that. There are some others that are much more wordy and they sort of get tripped up. And there are some that sound similar. And so I'm working really hard this year. Over the course of all these sprints, I will be really honing in on memorizing the definition and locking that in. Our quote this week on Thursday is from a young lady that I have just recently discovered her work, Priscilla Shearer. I hope I'm saying that correctly. She is an actor. She is a writer, a motivational speaker. She works in the Christian space, and she has a lot of good things to say. I have really enjoyed sort of digging in, but I particularly liked her expression here that she gives us, that unity does not mean sameness, it means oneness of purpose. So again, going back to that concept of people feeling like in order to be unified, we have to be totally uniform, and I don't think that's the case. I think that we still leave space for diversity. We still leave space for creativity. We still leave space for people to be who they are authentically. But we have to know and understand that we have a singular goal. We have a singular purpose, and we all are invested in moving toward that. So I really liked this quote. And again, the quotes also inspire a little bit more journaling for me. So taking the time to think about that quote, to process through what it actually means, take it apart a little bit, put it back together. I found that I was jotting things in my journal in response to the quotes as well. So Friday's activity, I didn't actually like produce a thing for Friday's activity, but I really did think it through. And there were a couple of things that I went back to and read over, articles that I pulled up, and just did some lightweight research, right? I didn't pull out the Encyclopedia World Book or anything. But I did, in fact, go back to a time where I feel like unity served the people or helped us to ensure progress in some way. And it sounds super cliche, and it sounds like an answer that you're going to get from every like 10th grader ever. But the Birmingham bus boycott, I think that was a time frame where like those folks really locked into, we have a goal and we are going to achieve it. And here's how. There was so much planning around it. There was so much strategy around it. It wasn't just, I'm not going to do this, but only until I get tired of it. Everybody agreed we are not riding that bus. And they had to put other things in place. They had to begin to carpool. They had to raise money around that effort. They had to organize speakers and national support to come in. There were lots of things that had to happen, and people had to be unified in that concept. And when they stopped putting money in the pockets of the entities that were harming them, they got results. And that's where I'm going to leave that. So I'm sure there are other eras. I'm sure there are other examples, and I would love to hear more about them. Drop it in the chat, drop it in the comment section. But that's the one that stood out and locked in for me, and I kept coming back to in my thoughts. So unity. We at several places along the historical timeline, we have had to be unified, but that's one that I think is a shining example for like, that's how you do it. So then Saturday, which was yesterday, We spent Saturday snowed in here in Raleigh, North Carolina, totally blockaded by that half inch of snow that was sitting on the grass, that dusting. Um, Now, that's not to say that the roads weren't icy and dangerous and all of that, but like, I appreciated the slow pace that Saturday offered, and it gave me time to sit and languish in my journaling and in my thinking and planning and all of that kind of stuff. So, what shared goals can bring people closer together? How can I contribute to them? I came up with a laundry list. It was not hard for me to go through. I think the harder thing would be for me to really scale that list back and figure out what I can do most immediately or most effectively. So again, in your journaling, I find that there are more questions than answers, and I'm okay with that. So that's the recap from last week 1 of our Umoja sprint. If you were participating along with us, I would love to see and hear from you. I would love for you to drop something in the comment section. I would love for you to tag us at Living Kwanzaa on Instagram, where we are. I just am so excited to see how all of this is impacting others, right? You're hearing from me personally how it's landing, but I would love to hear from you, right? Now, here it is time to jump into week 2. So as we look at next week, I really want us to think about how we can turn from that inward thinking about unity and contemplating on unity and your individual place in it, to outwardly, how do I begin to lead? How do I begin to take a forerunning presence in the development or the perpetuation of unity in my community? So here, friends, is a sneak peek at week 2 of your sprint. Again, if you don't have this yet, jump over to flow.page/Living Kwanzaa. The link is also in the description, but I want you to go over there, jump on the mailing list. As soon as you do that, you will have access to the entire sprint. You'll get all 7 weeks and a 1-week bonus. So make sure you do that. Week 2 promises to be lots and lots of fun. You'll see that there is a game night plan for week 2. Yikes. If you ever want to test the unity of a group, an organization, a family, a club, throw a little bit of a competitive game at them and just see how it goes, right? I am just so excited about this sprint. It's really opening me up to some new thoughts and understandings. And I hope that it is doing the same for you, right? Again, go get your copy. It's totally free. I want everybody to have access to this. Every question, every journal prompt, everything that's in here, every challenge and activity for the entire 7-week span is original for every single day. There are no repeats, so you're not going to get stuck. If you didn't start with us last week, no problem. Double up this week or pick and choose from last week and jump in there and get it done. The main thing is to start somewhere. We want you on board with us. We welcome you to the fun and games that we're having. So go ahead, go find all of the information on flow.page/Living Kwanzaa. Jump in there, get your copy of the Kwanzaa Sprint, and join along with us. Again, I am Shonda Branch, author and cultural creative with Living Kwanzaa, where we know and understand that 7 principles have infinite possibilities. I'm so happy you joined me for just a few minutes tonight. Share, like, subscribe so that you will never ever miss another update from me. All right, friends, take care.